What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In today's video, we are jumping into the Fall of the House of X, issue number 3. Mutantkind is fighting back. The X-Men are hunting down Orchis agents across the globe, with Tony Stark keeping them busy with his Sentinel Buster. All of the Stark Sentinels are on his location. While there are some remnants left over, they're mostly not a threat any longer. And so while the X-Men battle on Earth, we have Apocalypse, who is preparing the troops, preparing Arakko, because it is the invasion of Earth. So, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are starting it off with Juggernaut. He is tasked with protecting Krakoa at all costs, and that is exactly what he is doing, as Juggernaut drags Krakoa behind him through the desert. This is when Orchis arrives, confiscating one of the S.H.I.E.L.D.'s helicarriers. It was only a matter of time before the Orchis caught up, slowing down Juggernaut by shooting him in the leg with a harpoon made of adamantium, repurposed metal from the corpses of Wolverine. Juggernaut using his body to shield Krakoa. The Orchis agents are unleashing hell. In all of this, Juggernaut has found himself more angry than he has ever been, surviving the attack from the Hellfire Gala. He is sworn to protect Krakoa at all costs, to wait for the reinforcements. This is where we pick up with Dr. Gregor and Cyclops. We have found that these two are now working together, with Dr. Gregor putting down Omega Sentinel, and these two are headed inside the Orchis facility. Cyclops has come to the understanding that the AI is the biggest problem they have right now, because their goals are much bigger than just killing mutants. And Cyclops must ask the question to Dr. Gregor, who controls Orchis? Who really controls it? Now, for a while, she believed that they did, that the humans did. But now it is looking like Omega Sentinel and Nimrod have been doing their own thing. The humans, Orchis, are slowly starting to understand this, but it's already too late. This is when Magic shows up, bringing Cyclops a visor. Cyclops is letting Magic know that everything going on with the AI is just too quiet. He wants to go after Nimrod. He wants to find out where he is, what he is up to. While he investigates further, we pick up on the planet Arakko. Apocalypse is letting all the mutants know that the mutants of Earth have raised their war banners. A united and reforged Arakko is going to join the fight, with Woofer being the first one to say that he's from Chicago and he is more than ready to take the fight to them. But he does wonder how they're getting back to Krakoa. All of the gateways are down. And where is Storm? Apocalypse says that there's still magic left in all of these worlds. When it comes to Storm, like a storm, she can be hard to predict. But with a giant boom and a blinding light, we have the arrival of Manifold, teleporting himself in with Rogue and Gambit as well as Sword Station. This is how the mutants are getting to Earth. Manifold being one that loathes war, but knows now is the time. It is the time for all mutants to fight back, to stand up, to take back what belongs to them. All who board Sword Station, they go to their deaths. Not everyone will make it through the night. It will be a bloody and hellish battle. But today, the invasion begins. With everybody getting on board, Sword Station teleports right next to Sword Station number 2. The two stations creating a giant X in the sky. This is where Apocalypse, Rogue, and all of the others begin their assault. As they begin their descent, Rogue cannot help but what Destiny had told her, that there would be a day like this. So much death and destruction, and it all accumulates with a giant X in the heavens. With the fall of the Krakoans, she sees kings clashing in white, black after the death of the Red Queen, a Jovian bolt from the heavens, the stars ripped in half, the poisoning lies of the false captain, the fool who speaks the truth, and will pay the price. Destiny's prophecy is coming true, taking us down to Juggernaut still protecting Krakoa, with the sword stations appearing in orbit. The Orcus agents look up and they know they are screwed. Emma and Shadowcat coming down for the rescue. They get a transmission from Firestar, saying that if they get this, she might be dead, but Dr. Stasis realized she was a double agent, but she was able to put a tracker on him. She asked them to punch his ticket. As they reroute, they head to the middle of nowhere. Shadowcat and Emma Frost now confronting Dr. Stasis before he takes off in his jet. A man that was confident he was going to win. He was going to hop on that private plane and Dr. Stasis would cease to exist for a few years. And Dr. Stasis lets the ladies know that if you lay a finger on me, you will never see Firestar again, that he has hidden her away for insurance for this exact situation, with the finest blockers implanted in his head. The only problem, Shadowcat put her hand through his head and disabled the blocker, took it out. That means Emma Frost can do her thing, sending the location of Firestar to Sync, and Sync, in close proximity to Firestar already, he is able to grab hold of her powers, and do so naturally without straining himself. Getting to the ship that she is aboard, he knocks down the Orcus agents. He opens up the casket only to see that Firestar is being kept alive through some kind of life support. Taking it off, she wakes up, and Dr. Stasis is now at the mercy of Emma Frost. And what Emma Frost does is make him live his worst fears, his most unhinged nightmares. It only took a minute for Dr. Stasis's heart to begin to arrest. But time is relative. With a skilled telepath like Emma Frost, she made this feel like 10 years, watching himself die time and time and time again, seeing the mutants absolutely destroy him. And this is when Firestar comes in. Emma and Shadowcat had been debating on how to kill Dr. Stasis, but Firestar had other plans. She comes in and she fries him to a crisp. Now we're gonna hop over to the moon, the old Summer's home on the moon. This is where Nimrod set up base. Cyclops letting Magic know to have Emma keep an ear out just in case something goes down here, as he begins to investigate, trying to figure out why Nimrod would even come here to begin with. This is when Dr. Gregor mentions Sentinel City. After their victory over Krakoa, the habitats on the moon, they were really changed into relay stations, all for the mining settlement, except most of the ore never made it back to Earth. It was used on site. It was used right here. Dr. Gregor opening up a door. This is where we see Nimrod plugged into a computer, letting Emma Frost to be ready. Dr. Gregor tries to talk to Nimrod. The thing that was once her husband, she thinks maybe she can reach it. Maybe she can talk to it. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Nimrod grabs Dr. Gregor's head and twists it 180 degrees. He snaps her neck, and that is when Cyclops attacks. Nimrod says that they calculated what their chances of success would look like. The best chances, the greatest chances came when mutants and humans were at each other's throats. They would be so busy fighting one another, nobody would look up. No one would see the sword overhead. Sentinel City is not an outpost. It is not a mine. It is a tool to sterilize the entire planet once and for all. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Not a bad issue, definitely moving the plot forward. You know, one of my biggest gripes of these new titles, House of X, Powers of 10, all this stuff that is going on, is that the pacing is just so quick. So much detail is left out, so much awesome storytelling that could have been told. You know, that's one of the few things that I've liked about the Krakoan era of X-Men comics. At times it can be a little tedious, but a lot of these stories really build up. Heck, the X-Men versus the Eternals versus the Avengers had a huge build-up. I might even say a little bit too much, but it feels like they went in the polar opposite direction. Instead of doing too much detail, now they're doing too little detail. This is not to say that it's a bad story. We're really skimming over and getting all the cliff notes as we go through these comics to get to the bigger overall thing that they want to focus on. And that seems to be AI and the Dominion, the two biggest threats that are currently facing them, besides Moira trying to get back to her first life. I really feel like the writers were told, you know what, we're ending the X titles for the ongoing stories in the Krakoan era at such time. And so all and any story that you have out there, you need to tie it up now before we move on. Now, personally, I don't think the Krakoa era is ending per se. I think it's going to be the beginning of the Araco era. I've been saying this, I think it is the direction that they're going to take it. We are going to see the end of the Krakoa, but the beginning of the Araco with the main X-Men team still on Earth, probably back in the mansion, but not a reset of the timeline, not any of that. Everything will still exist. We have too many awesome characters. John Ironfire, Laktuka, Weaponless Zed, White Sword, and his 100. There are so many characters with so much potential, and I just don't feel like that's going to be erased away. Now, I could be 100% wrong, and they could just erase everything, but I'm really hoping that they're smarter than that they see the opportunity to capitalize on both returning to the mansion, but also keeping these awesome stories alive for those of us that do love all of these new Krakoan era X-Men. One thing is for certain, the end is coming. We see that Orcus is pretty much handled at this point. There's a few loose ends they gotta take care of, but Nimrod is the biggest threat, Sentinel City, and then Enigma, the Dominion. These are the battles that will determine what the future looks like for the X-Men titles. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with the Krakoan era X-Men. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you are unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any content we have coming out, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.